Okay, so I think we're good. Welcome everyone to Climate Conversations. It's a series of dialogues with FXB Climate Advocates around the world about how climate change is impacting their communities and the initiatives that they're initiating to address climate change. So I'm very honored to be here with Leena Joshi, one of our alumni. So Leena, please introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself, how old you are, what you're studying, and just so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leena, and I'm a social entrepreneur, climate advocate, public speaker, and writer. I am the founder and executive director of Ethereal, which is a youth-led nonprofit organization.
How old are you, Leena?
I am 23 years old.
Thank you. And can you tell us a little bit first about the community where you grew up and if you've seen any impacts of climate change on your community?
So I was born and brought up in New Delhi, India. And growing up, I have seen our community suffering, especially from air pollution. The air quality of my city has always been worsening over the years. And recently, I was a part of we organized a climate strike in collaboration with Fridays for Future. And in order to hold our city government officials accountable for their activities, and it was also effective because they decided to hear our concerns and decided to take action on it.
Thank you. Tell us, at what age did you become active in climate action and what prompted you? Was there a specific moment or interaction where you just realized you had to work on this issue?
I think I was 14 years old when I became climate curious, as you can say. It was one moment when I was during my school vacation. I was walking around the beach and I saw tons of plastic pollution and tons of plastic materials discarded in the ocean waves and at the beach. So that was the moment I knew that I had to take some sort of action. But at that time, there weren't a lot of active moments that I knew that I can be a part of. But I kept on taking action in terms of making people aware.
And how did people react? Were other young people, were they equally concerned or were they, did they not know much about the issue? What was the reaction like when you started talking about this issue?
Not many people knew about the issue. Like everyone knew that it was a problem, but they didn't realize how major the issue was.
And tell us a little bit, you introduced yourself as a social entrepreneur. Tell us about what prompted you to start Ethereal and what you hope to accomplish and bring it to life for us.
It was one moment in a business conference. I saw a small business owner talking about the success of their business, but they didn't realize how much of plastic pollution their business was emitting. So even though they knew that it was a problem, so I researched a little bit and I met a lot of people in a climate boot camp as well. Then I realized that even though there are a lot of sustainable businesses, their products are natural, whether they are skincare products, whether they are accessories or clothing items, but their packaging is very unsustainable. And I realized that I need to consult with them and I need to make them aware and connect with sustainable packaging manufacturers. So I started this initiative by making them collaborate and connect with sustainable packaging manufacturers in the city or nearby areas, uh, which can help them make their packaging as sustainable as their products are. And we also have another project where we provide mentorship to young girls uh, in order to help them understand and in order to help them get started in their climate advocacy or climate work journey. So yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about what are some options for sustainable packaging? I know plastic packaging and just the use of plastic has come up in every single climate conversation. And it's incredible how more prevalent it's become over the years across Africa, I think in Asia as well. Just, probably 30 years ago, people naturally used like more reusable materials. And over the years, it's just become so ubiquitous to see plastic bags and wrappers and everything. But what are the real options out there? Can you tell us a little bit about the kinds of companies that you connect businesses with? I'm so curious.
The companies aren't really like have a specific brand or something, but mostly they are manufacturing units in the city. So the packaging material, there are a lot of innovations that are still happening. I mean, scientists are also still researching on the best alternate there could be for plastic. But most of the businesses that I know that who want to be sustainable, they want to move towards either glass packaging or they want to move towards tin, which is really useful for skincare brands.
Thank you. And you said there's an initiative to help mentor and support girls. Why did you start that? Why is it so important to support girls to get involved in climate action?
It's really important to get more girls and women involved in the climate space because according to research, women are disproportionately impacted by climate change, especially in vulnerable or marginalized communities. Like when disasters strike, like floods or extreme weather events, women are more likely to be displaced and they're responsible for resources, bringing up resources like food and water in rural areas. And even in urban areas, women suffer from problems like unequal pay. And I believe that since women are most affected by climate change, and then I researched on some statistics that less than 34% of women were involved in climate negotiations at COP27. So I realized that if women are being so much affected by climate change, then why aren't they being involved in climate conversations during major climate conferences? So that's when I realized that more and more girls need to be mentored in order to make this space an inclusive space.
Yeah, that's very important. How old are the girls that you work with, and what are the kinds of things they're telling you about what they see as the press, in the climate impacts in their communities?
Most of them are, some of them are high school students, some of them are early years in their college students. So these days, a lot of people are aware about these problems and they are very interested in being involved in this since it's our future, right?
Thank you. And then, you're probably one of the few FXB climate advocates who's a social entrepreneur and who really digs into the role of business when it comes to sustainability. What do you think is the role of corporations, businesses, when it comes to addressing climate change?
I believe that individual action does bring a change when done on a collective level. But I believe that real change can be brought up only when businesses, corporations, and governments uh, decide to bring upon change on a systematic level. Because we can stop using plastic straws or like reduce our carbon footprint, but how far we can go. Uh, so I believe that it's the responsibility of corporations and governments to bring amendments in policies and bring change on industrial and governmental level.
Thank you. Are there any examples of companies, whether small social enterprises or large companies, that you think are doing a great job at sustainability that you would recommend it for everyone to check out?
Yeah, I am a part of an organization called Four Ocean. It's a Florida-based organization. They sell uh, bracelets and accessories made out of ocean plastic, and they do major ocean cleanup drives. And there are also organizations like Fool and Company in India. They uh, they help reduce flower pollution in India's rivers, and then they make incense sticks or incense based products out of those waste materials, which is really sustainable.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really great. Those are really great examples. We can look into them, and maybe there are other examples in our advocates countries that are probably doing similar things. And I wanted to ask you, what is it like for you to be a young woman, climate advocate, social entrepreneur in India? Have you faced any challenges for being a woman or for being young or for any other reason? And how have you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I do feel kind of left out when I am in I am the youngest in the room in a lot of like conferences. But when I spend a little more time and have conversations with people, it does get better. And I have, due to that, I've also felt eco anxiety sometimes, but uh, it really helps. Just having a conversation with your peers goes a long way.
Thank you. How did you learn about the FXB Climate Advocates program, and why did you decide to join?
I think I learned about this program through LinkedIn, and I saw the opportunity, and then I realized even though I am a little bit uh, knowledgeable in the climate space, but I always love to learn new things and uh, go deep into the technicalities of things. So it was really, the program was also really helpful. And my experience with the program was like, there were there were diverse people from all around the world, I guess. And there were people who were beginning to to get into the climate space, and as well as experienced people as well. So it was a really diverse cohort, I guess.
What are some skills or knowledge that you took away from the program?
I took away from the program, I think it was really well structured, uh, which is really great for beginners and even the experienced ones as well. And I really uh, liked the details that I learned from the program. You know, the statistics and the research and all of that stuff was really helpful in, I think I can write an academic paper based on those learnings.
Great, thank you. I wanted to ask you about kind of climate policy, and what do you think should be priority for your government and for elected officials globally when it comes to addressing climate change?
I think two things are really important. First of all, curbing the problem of fossil fuels, as a lot of people in the as a lot of you all have been really close to the news. Like a lot of people are advocating, and a lot of climate activists are on strike to stop projects like the Alaska project in America as well. And secondly, I think that government needs to hold industries accountable, manufacturing units and large corporations accountable for their carbon footprint, since it can um, have a drastic impact on climate change.
Thank you. How did you get involved with Fridays for the Future, and what was it like to organize a climate strike in your country? What does it feel like to be there with thousands of young people?
So besides my organization, I love to get involved with a lot of other organizations, like partnering with them and collaborating with them, and love meeting new people and like-minded individuals. So I got to know about it from again from social media, and so I got together with my peers, and we decided to organize a strike. We also partner with other youth organizations, and it was really although it was really challenging when we really got on the ground, but when I saw the results, when the city officials decided to hear our concerns and take action on it, then it felt really fulfilling and satisfactory.
That's incredible that your concerns were heard and they actually shaped and resulted in action. That's really powerful. What do you think is the role of young people? And I mean, clearly you and other youth that are mobilizing and climate strikes and through all these activities are speaking up. They're not staying passive. What do you think is the role of young people in really bringing the issue of climate change to the public agenda, in creating this kind of systemic change that we need, not just kind of tweaks around the edges? What have you seen is the power and the role of young people in creating this change?
I think individual action on behalf of young people to make it a habit, try being as sustainable as possible, and uh, always the most effective thing is to advocate for systematic change, hold government responsible for more sustainable climate policies. I think that's really helpful.
Thank you. And for example, you mentioned that in our program we had like young people who are just starting out in their climate journeys and others who've already done a lot. What we hear oftentimes from young people who are just starting out is that it's very scary. They're hesitant, maybe they're young, they can't vote, they don't have money, they kind of question themselves, who will listen to me? What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out on, like, just they care, they see something is going on, but they're a little bit scared to act? What would you say to them?
So for individuals leading climate related initiatives, my advice would be to just stay passionate and persistent, and collaborate with like-minded individuals and partner with organizations. If you have your own initiative, either join youth-led initiatives and organizations, or you can always also start your own. And please don't be discouraged by setbacks, and because changes take time, but every single action and small effort, it counts.
So find a community, right? And join that community. That's very helpful. Have you had any mentors or any climate activists or advocates in your country or globally that you've admired and that you've learned from as you kind of navigate this space?
There are a lot of people, but I guess the most famous person was Greta. I guess everyone knows her, and she spoke up about climate action and the dangers of the climate crisis quite early, before it became like a trend, as you can say. So that was really inspiring that she was so young, and she made us all believe that we young people can also make our voices heard.
So what is your vision for the future? Where do you hope to take Ethereal? What do you want to accomplish? What's kind of in the next 5 to 10 years for you?
So my hope for the future of climate advocacy is to see greater awareness and action at all levels of society, whether it's individual level or it's government level. I aspire to witness a world where climate protection is a fundamental part of our daily lives and a top priority for governments and businesses. And for Ethereal, I hope to partner and collaborate with more organizations and help more people. Like, it's youth for youth, like youth helping youth. I'd love to see more youth getting involved with my organization in order to help those who want to get started as well.
Are there any sectors of businesses that you're targeting for Ethereal to prioritize? I don't know, like is it jewelry or skincare or something else?
No, they just have to be interested in being sustainable. Doesn't really matter the industry.
Yeah, you should. I think we have a few, not too many, but a few social entrepreneurs in our FXB Climate Advocates alumni network, but many who are very interested in sustainable consumption and social entrepreneurship. So you should definitely reach out in our WhatsApp group. And I bet there are others who would want to partner or maybe start similar initiatives in their countries, because, really the issue of packaging and plastic is unfortunately universal, and very detrimental to our planet and our health as well. So it's a really important topic. Well, you're really brave to be a social entrepreneur and public speaker. What kind of events have you spoken at?
I have spoken at regional as well as global events like Girl Up Global Leadership Summit, and I've also shared my work at the High Commission of Canada, and I've spoken at Gatherverse Summit, and I've also spoken at recently I delivered a lecture for Youngo's Adaptation Academy.
You really are an inspiration. And if you could want to draw on any of our female FXB Climate Advocates alumni to serve as mentors for the young women that you work with, I think that could be really great as well. And to wrap up this conversation, do you have like a call to action that you would tell any young people, or not so young, or young at heart, as people say, to really to take climate action? And you're sitting watching this and saying, Leena is so amazing. I want to help. I want to get involved. Where do I start?
Young people, or doesn't really matter the age, you can always reach out to me and I can get you started to get involved in taking climate action, whether it's you who want to take action or whether you want to make a change in society. I'm always happy to help.
And just one last question. Has your family been supportive? Has it been difficult to go on this journey? Maybe, I don't know, in India and some countries, young parents might have expectations to follow certain professional paths. What kind of reaction or support have you received from your family or people around you?
At the beginning, they didn't really understand about this, but when I sat with them and had a conversation with them, they really understood that this was a really pressing challenge for our generation, and it's really our future, and every single young person should take responsibility for it. So I think having a conversation really helps.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Just really having that conversation, because that's something that we hear from the young people, that they face a lot of resistance from their parents, who either, want them to pursue, traditional kind of career path, or just don't really understand why this matters so much and why they're committing so much time, right, to this issue. But having a conversation, that's a really, really powerful first step. And of course, a lot of the sustainability changes or personal habits for young people, are controlled by parents or by parents' resources or whatever the situation may be. So I know some young people have said, like, I want to start composting, but my parents think it's too hard, or things like that. So really, like, that first kind of the first adults that young people need to kind of lobby are their parents. But that was really beautiful, Leena, just to have a conversation, and what you were clearly able to get your parents on board. And you're so admirable for the work that you're doing, and you're really an effective public speaker, and we need to hear your voice, of all young people, to really, and to see the way you're taking action is really an inspiration to many adults who think, oh, it's too late, there's nothing I could do, or I'm too old, or whatever the excuses may be. Well, Leena is doing it. All of our advocates are doing it, with constraints and, against all odds. But you guys are doing it. You have a social enterprise, you're passing it on to the next generation. That's really making an impact. Well, we're really grateful to have you as part of the FXB Climate Advocates Network. We will continue to support you in any way we can, help you amplify your voice and the incredible projects and work you're doing on the ground. And hopefully, you can collaborate with some of our alumni and, and really support each other, because really we need all hands on deck, and we especially need businesses. We definitely need businesses to really change practices. And, I think what you're doing is really, really important. And I really like, the consumers are important, but it's really the companies that are really at the root cause of the problem with the kind of products and the processes. So the work that you're doing is really important, and hopefully you can scale this to other countries as well. Ethereal. Thank you so much, Leena, for your time. It was so lovely to speak with you, and I'm sure our audience was really inspired by this conversation.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much. Thank you. Bye.